I'm actually back to teaching now. I've retired and I teach full-time now at a little school we call Carter Christian Academy. So, now I have to get up early again and have 6 classes and coach the basketball team. We did pretty good 2 years ago now. I won't talk about last year. But well, this morning I want to be here to thank you for your support for Workers for Mexico. And I'm just going to run through some quick slides. I know you all already know a lot about it, so we can do it very rapidly. But we have had some great advances here in the last couple of years since I've been here. And, of course, this is our 23rd anniversary. 23 years ago, we formed Workers for Mexico with Brother Looney, of course. And now he's at 92 years old and still does some preaching and works with some teams. But our whole theme was to support evangelists and churches in Mexico and in many ways assist the children and students, as you'll see. And then, you know, we know that Mexico is a very poor country, many people see as a dangerous country, although we've never had any problems, but it consists of 31 different states. We operate in 9 different states right now. You know, the people living there earn less than $7 a day. The minimum wage is actually approximately $50 a week for working in factories, and so a lot of people struggle, of course. Then Pam and I have been at it as executive director, and she's our treasurer, keeps track of all the accounting. Our church, Sugar Grove, as I mentioned, handles all the overhead. Neither one of us take a salary, but they handle all the overhead, the office expenses, and so forth. So every dollar that you give, you can be assured it is going to Mexico. And we're helping now 45 different churches in 23 cities and 9 states and doing benevolent work. We have training, we assist the children, and of course we do a lot of construction work as well. Many of those projects are done by the Mexican people with our financial assistance, and then some, of course, are done by work teams that go down. These are just some of our 45 different men that we serve. This is a typical picture that we try to start a church with. And basically, when we plan a church, we will construct a 2-story building, and the church will meet in the bottom, and the minister, of course, will live in the upper story. Then once they grow out of that bottom portion, we will construct then a large sanctuary, and then the bottom part becomes their fellowship hall and some Sunday school classes and so forth. This particular church in Monclova is actually now building on to its sanctuary on the back because they've outgrown that part that was originally built, and they actually handle several different churches in that area. And then all the way down in southern Mexico, in the area of Chiapas, a congregation of over 100. A couple of shots. Every year at Christmas time, we do something. We either go to the desert and pass out gifts, or we take a truck down to the border and store. Southeast Christian Church is their headquarters, but they call themselves Soul Blessings. And that's what they did after it was flooded. And a new classroom building there at Arteaga. Preacher there is now, we're trying to help him build an actual house. He didn't have much a place to live in. Monterrey is one of the larger cities, of course, in Mexico, and there we have all potato. They can only give the minister maybe a little bit to live on and then take care of all their expenses. We continue to help him. Also, right outside of Monterrey is get better than just the little, you know, block churches and tin roofs that we try to do out in the country, because this is right in the middle of a middle-class area of the city. And so we had to make it a little more appealing, and it took us a while, but we got it done, and they are jam-packed full, and they are actually starting, if you see the picture there in the lower corner, they've started a new mission. They've rented a building, and they're getting ready to purchase land. They've started a new church in another city, Juarez, just, it's about 15 miles to the east of them. Also to the north of Monterrey and Ciénaga de Flores, we've been supporting Manuel Cavazos, and that's their church building. Then the one that is really growing, that needs really help, they have converted an old factory building and rented a house for a while, converted an old factory building. They're hoping to be able to get a big building. We've helped them purchase a little corner that can be put there. But Samuel Velez is just a tremendously respected minister, and he's doing a great job with the Apodaca. And then Monclova, again, here in Monclova, the Churches of Christ have 13 churches in that particular area. And we have helped support and help actually start and build several of them. This is Abrera Church and also the Boras Church buildings. And these are some of the shots of some of the people inside Monclova's churches. This one is a very interesting one. Again, you can see the two-story building that we started with, but the people have outgrown the bottom part. So now we had one church that said we want to help them, and so they gave us enough money to add on and give them a kitchen and a bathroom. They didn't have a bathroom other than going upstairs to the minister's house. So you can see the new kitchen and the bathroom going up. But now they themselves are working on the footer to build a complete new sanctuary so they can convert the bottom of the other building to classrooms. All we can do right now is we were sending just yesterday we sent them another $500, but they're doing the work. Everybody, men, women, children, are jumping in to try to pour the footer and so forth. In Matamoros at the Villa Church, Brother Geraldo Dominguez, we actually built that church in his house over the years. He's been there close to 20 years now, and they are overflowing, and they have been working on an extension, as you can see, of their building for years. We just now got the girders up for the roof, as you can see. It is going to be a massive expansion. Now, they meet out there without a roof when the weather's good, but we'll have to wait and see how long it's going to take us to actually get the covering of the roof. And this is also Matamoros, which is on the border, of course, across from Brownsville. This is one of our oldest and greatest complexes. This is actually where, many years ago, we had a small deaf home, which now, of course, has been changed to the other side of town. But Pedro Toga is the minister there, and we've done a lot of construction in that colony. Now move on up the mountain to Saltillo. Saltillo, we have 3 churches there, and we have a new work started. And you can see how they start. We started a new work with a actual program for young people. This is in a very, very poor section. And sadly, a lot of the shacks that were there burnt here about 2 months ago. And a lot of the people lost what they had, which wasn't much. But Brother Alfonso Oliveras works there. Then this is Constaños, which is down the mountain into the area between Monterey and Monclova. Constaños, Brother Teo Contreras is the minister there. And again, you can see the 2-story building, but notice what they've done. They've added on. They've got a new sanctuary, which and they're worshiping there. What they're doing now with the equipment you see is they're trying to build some bathrooms. The bathrooms weren't a part of the original building. Then also in Nuevo Laredo, which is on the border across from Laredo, Texas, we have Jose Balderos. And we have 3 churches that we have actually helped start in Nuevo Laredo. Then there's the downtown church that was started many, many years ago. But this is a new church that we helped start. And again, they have the 2-story building, but they're wanting to build the sanctuary. They've got their plans. We've got the land. The land's paid for. Right now, they just got a temporary sort of tent up. It's right on a main highway in a new colony that has over, I couldn't imagine, maybe 6,000 to 7,000 houses out there. And so it's a perfect location if we can ever get a nice building up. Guadalajara, and again, this is one of the 3rd largest city in Mexico, and this was the original church that Clinton Looney went to, Yanez, and since that time, of course, it's gone down, it's gone up and down, but right now they're doing a great work, and we are helping the Balderas brothers, Omar and Javier. They minister there, and they have one other mission, and they are helping on 2 other churches in that area. Right now, their construction project is new classrooms. These are, again, some more of our of our ministers and their families that we assist. In Piedras Negras, we were helping Daniel de la Cruz. He actually teaches at the Colegio Biblico, but he came in and started a new church, and in a house. They just crowd in there like crazy, and he's reached the point where they're trying to get 40 or more people in a little house, and so they are building on. And again, we haven't had the opportunity to get any teams there, but we've been sending him $200-300 a month if we have extra. Sometimes we don't, sometimes we do, but they are building on to the back. The bottom one is another mission church that is actually from outside of Piedras Negras, where another one of the ministers of the Colegio Biblico goes, and they are very small right now. We pay his salary. And then Josh and Vera Nunez, they are working in Querétaro right now as with the youth. It's a youth group called CMJX, and we actually took over that mission. He was with another mission group, and they were taking so much of his money for commission that he asked if he could join us and collect all of his money, and so we do, and so we work with him. These again are some of our other ministers preaching, baptizing. Children, are a key to the future of Mexico. We know that. So vacation Bible schools. We encourage, as you see, children to go to nursing homes and help with the, that's the main emphasis we place on teaching these kids to get out and do service and having programs for them. You can see that bottom picture. Those are the dresses that the feeding program kids got from the ladies in Louisville. There's some more of them. And also another church, a farmer's church here in Kentucky, those ladies create big gift bags every Christmas, and so that's a part of what we take down during the holidays. Vacation Bible schools down there are just unbelievable. You can imagine they only have a very short summer period in Mexico because kids only go a half day down there. It's so crowded. Some go in the morning, some go in the afternoon. And so they have a long season of school, so they get out maybe 6 weeks. And so churches have VBS, but they can have as many as 200 kids, 250 kids. You can see that kind of crowd is difficult to handle. A lot of it has to be done outside. There's no building that can handle all of it, and a lot of different children's programs they put on. We have, as I said, encouraged a lot of youth meetings, women's groups, and unity meetings. Within those churches that have, those cities that have a lot of congregations, we've always encouraged them to get together, and they have what they call the unidad, which is all of them come together, for service for a day or 2 days and a fellowship together, and just kind of keeps everybody in touch with one another. A lot of baptisms we've had this year. I keep getting pictures. They send me pictures of all the different people that are won to Christ. Of course, there's a variety of ways. We do have some baptistries in some churches. Others, of course, go to the ocean. Others go to whatever water happens to be available. And there you can see the Guadalupe Church actually had, when we built that, as Brother Steve can tell you, that he decided he wanted to have a round baptistry because he had done some study in archaeology. They've dug up some of the old baptistries of the early century churches. Some of them were round, representing the womb to be born again, and actually some of them were crosses. They were in the shape of a cross. We, of course, usually just have a rectangular baptistry. Now, the 12-kilometer church, Jesus Menchaca is the minister. He is probably one of the most respected ministers in all of Mexico. He's on our board, and he has the church in Nuevo Laredo. And you can see they have several buildings now because they actually house some students. Students can come, stay there, and go to college and university in Nuevo Laredo. No charge. We help with, we send them a couple $100 to help with some of the food but they have to have a job and they have to help in the church in order to stay there. And we have a lot of camps. We have 3 camps actually that we support, and they've just finished. They usually just have, they use the camps during the all season, but during camping season usually have a youth camp, but they have family camp, youth and family camp. And this is really in the desert. And they had large crowds this year. As you can see, the kids at old-fashioned camp line up. You know how you used to have to line up and for the team events and the food and so forth. And that camp has several buildings. They were in disrepair, but they got together and we helped them out a little bit. And they did a lot of work. They put in a new volleyball court this summer at that facility. Then Sombrietti Camp is in the desert near Monclova. It's the oldest of the camps, and it has a dorm, a couple of dorms, and we also have a large field there that was donated that naturally you couldn't imagine. It's a soccer field. Then we've also have 2, a boys dorm and a girls dorm in that one. Then down on the Gulf of Mexico in the state of Veracruz, Toro Prieto, which means black bull in Spanish, we have another camp that people love to go there. They didn't have any buildings for a long time. People would just come and have family camp and, camp out on the beach because it's right on the beach. Aren't any hotels or anything around there. I mean, you never find this place if somebody didn't take you there. But they do have a wonderful camp period. And the preacher there, by the way, Pedro Toga, also has the church there, but he also travels to Cuesta Maria and also Belen, which is way up on the mountains. So he has 3 congregations that he serves. And just recently, his truck gave out, and I sent out an appeal, and we were able to get about $4,800, and we got him a new used truck, and hopefully it'll hold up for a little while. The children's feeding program is centered in Saltillo, where, as we said, it's such a poor area. You can see the church made of just plywood in the background. That's one that we want to try to build eventually. But we have $1,000 that we send every month to feed the children as much as they can during the month. And these are children that probably don't get a lot of hot meals at all. And it's a good way, of course, to bring the parents in, too, for the church. And you can see, if you can read that sign, it's the kids are saying thank you to United States for feeding the kids. And there are many, many more we could feed if we just had the resources, of course. This is one of the most amazing stories, I think. When we first went to this place, this is Rayu Menchaca, who's Jesus' son. We put him through dental school, and he has a dentist office there, but at the same time, he started a church. And we built that church, and I know Steve's done some work there. We've done all kinds of work there. And they've done all kinds of work themselves. And I don't know how he's done it, but he and his wife have just absolutely built this church up. And what we started out with just one lot is now 2 lots, and several buildings. His building, the dental office, the upstairs Sunday school, big expansion of the auditorium, another house that we built for their youth minister, which they pay themselves. This is a self-supporting church, with the exception of we do help them a couple $100 a month for their feeding program, and then, as we say, occasionally to help them construct it. You could see the beautiful new auditorium that they built. They built, one of their masons built a beautiful stone baptistry for them, and now they're building again. They're expanding again. And once again, they've done it all on their own, but again, we've tried to help them. We haven't been able to send any teams, but try to send them again $400 or $500 whenever we have extra, and they are going to go up again and expand that auditorium, because they sometimes run well over 180 or more people. Veracruz State is a very poor state that we have several churches in. Noé Toga works there, and we're trying to get down there. They want us to come down and see some of their work here in the near future. Many years ago in the late 90s, this was called Instituto Biblico. And when I went there, they were just about ready to close up. They didn't have much support. And so we struggled for a little while, finally got some churches to kick in with us, and kept it open. And then we eventually decided just to close it down for a year and reorganize and bring in Jaime Castro, came to the United States, got all of his degrees, came back and agreed to be our president, and we started the University Christianity de Mexico, and built a beautiful chapel, and Jerry was a part of that, pouring the floor, and that chapel and all the buildings. Now we have we have 29 students on campus now studying, and 13 part-time who come in. But the big thing they're doing is extension programs. They have this year, Jaime says, we now have 635 people in churches around Mexico that have signed up for their extension programs to learn the Bible. We send them books and send them back in. And of course, we have the 4-year program, but you could see one church there where they're holding their certificates. They finished the first phase of the extension program. And then one of the things that UCM does is they go out, they send the rondalla, as we call it, the guitar choir out. They send drama teams out to churches to evangelize. That's part of their requirement. They've got to do it on the weekends, and then they got to spend at least a couple of weeks each summer. They send out usually 2 different groups in the summer to work with the churches. This year they went all the way over to Baja California. Hasten International is Dr. Dennis Pruitt, of course, has passed away, but his sons still operate Hasten, and they try to help establish medical clinics around the world. So when I wanted a medical clinic, I called on them and say, how can I do it? And so we built groups, built that main building there outside of Monclova, and we have a medical clinic, and they help support it financially through us. And it's located in the poor colony. We give all free medical care, free medicines, free vitamins, everything you can think of. We bring in doctors. We have 2 volunteer doctors that come in. But the main thing that they've been doing is going out into the churches. If people can't come into the clinic, they take at least once a month, go out into the various churches and some of the places where there isn't even a church, and do checkups, provide medicines. They're on the road. You can see also up there with the tent. They bring clothes. They do haircuts, just all kinds of things to help the people. And we also have a dentist that gives them checkups. This is one of our most unique ministries and one of our fastest growing ministries, Con Mis Manos. It's certified school. We have 40. I think Michelle told me, no, we got 2 more students, so 42 students for the deaf. The deaf in Mexico have no hope. They're abused. They're thrown into the corner. The parents don't know what to do with them. There's no school for them. And so we have this school. They come, they learn, they get a certificate. They stay until they've learned math and English and sign language. Some students come and don't even know what their name is. And we teach them every week. Go out. We have 3 vans that go out and collect them, bring them into the center. And we also house some of them. It is a deaf ministry. They learn to sew. They learn to cook. Many of them, after they have graduated, have gone to factories and get jobs. We have a large clothing pantry there for the people in the colony. Of course, the deaf families get first choice. And then after that, we open it up to anyone that wants to come, and we have lots and lots of clothes. You can see some of the classrooms. We have just ready to finish a brand new campus there. You can see there, we built a 3-stage classroom building, getting ready to, boys' dorm was one of the buildings that was there, but we converted it into the boys' dorm, then built a brand new girls' dorm. That's the kind of the big living room there for them. And we house usually about only 4 girls all the time, and then on weekends, more girls stay, and there's 5 boys that live there. And these are people kids that don't need to go home because the parents just don't want to do with them, or they don't have any parents. Right now, as I said, we're getting ready to finish the last section. Plus, we had a donation from a doctor who came down and saw the work and thought this is so great. and he provided over $1,000. He provided well, quite a bit of money to help get this project done. Then he says we need a playground, and so getting ready to put in a permanent playground, not just regular playground equipment, but good sturdy stuff that will stand the winds and the hurricanes and so forth. Obviously, you know the short-term mission teams do a lot for us. Do a variety of work. The problem is, of course, a lot of the ones that always win are getting a little older now, and also they're getting a little afraid. We don't have much in the way of college kids coming anymore because the parents think it's too dangerous. But we've done, you know, of course, Clinton has done 40 years of work before us, and then we've done 23 years of what can happen. This church in Cancun was meeting in a little lean-to over there, and that's what they got when we finished. A beautiful white church building. And that just gives you an idea of how it can go from primitive to modern. We preach. The girls come and women come and cook for us, and we American team leaders together with the Mexicans. We don't go down there and tell them what to do. We go down there and ask them, what do you want us to do? And that's our philosophy, and we get the job done by working together. It creates a partnership. It creates a friendship, and we just have a lot of wonderful fellowship. And people just, you know, when we first started going from Sugar Grove Church, my church, we back in the early 90s, most of our people had never been out of Kentucky. And certainly a lot of them had never flown anywhere. But as of right now, 94 different people of our church have been to Mexico. And like I say, they were a little reluctant at first, but now and then they got to loving it, loving the people, loving the work. And, of course, many of them have gone back time and time again. And you have to have somebody that knows a little bit about construction. And that's where we're kind of lacking right now. Some of those folks are getting a little on in age. We always attend the ICOM, the Missionary Convention. This was our booth that we generally have somebody come with us besides us. That particular year we had the university with us, and also the Conmismanos, the deaf ministry. Sometimes we're able to bring, one year we're able to bring a couple of the ministers up so they could tell people about their work. And this year, of course, is coming up in November at Cincinnati, so it's not very far away for you to come and attend. And we always go there because we feel like the people that support us need to not only see us there, but get some updates and so forth. These are just some more pictures of what I told you, the Christmas caravans. We either bring truckloads down. Pam and I took the truck last year. Then about 2 years ago, we did the van trip through the desert. We pack up essential groceries for the people. People stand along the side of the road as we go down through the desert, begging for stuff. And we usually have something for the adults, blankets, and also toys for the kids, obviously, coloring books, school supplies, backpacks. But again, a lot of that was provided by some of our college groups. And right now, we haven't had them send us too many haven't had the backpacks, but we still have a lot of stuff that we take in the trucks. As I said, you know, one of the great things is the training conferences that we have, and also those extension classes, so the people in the churches can understand and be trained, not just the ministers. We provide them with all kinds of Bibles and Spanish literature. They can do the correspondence stuff online as well, the extension online. Many of them do have access to the internet, or go to an internet or cyber cafe. And of course, that's how I communicate with all of our ministers and keep up with them. And we send them the money in a very unique way. I won't go into it how we do it. But it's the safest way. All the accounts are actually in my bank, and then they use ATM cards, and then certain ones that are among our directors, they deposit into other ministers' accounts, and it works pretty well. And of course, Pam has to keep up with all that, and then also the receipts and so forth from all of our donors. We put out, these are some of our current needs. Obviously, we would like to have monthly support. I just got a message yesterday from our Guadalajara people. They have been sort of mentoring another man, Jose Martinez, who's trying to work 2 little churches, but he was going blind. We sent some money that he got one eye fixed, and he's looking to have the other eye, but he's very dedicated. But he's got 3 kids, and down there you have to pay to get your kids in school, and they were just saying he's just so poor, and we're afraid he's going to get disappointed, or we're afraid he's going to start accepting money from some of the Pentecostal churches, and he says, can't we get him into Workers for Mexico? And I said, well, it's just not in the budget right now, but maybe we'll go out and see. We have construction money that we need. We have 11 projects. Some of them you of course saw. We need vehicles for churches. Down there, they can keep a vehicle for a long time. Everybody's a shade tree mechanic. But unfortunately, eventually they do just simply wear out and won't go any farther. We used to be able to take donations and get those vans down there, but the government has put a stop to that. You can't take any old vehicles inside Mexico anymore. It has to be every year it has to be, goes up again. In other words, I could take a vehicle that's 6 years old, but I can't take one that's 7 years old right now. So the best thing to do, basically, is to buy one that's already in there. So we've had some churches maybe that donated their old van, then we'll sell it here, and then, of course, use the money to send down there, and they can buy one that's already licensed. They've imposed so many impuestos or taxes to bring them in. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable the way the Mexican government tries to treat their own people. You think that things down there are cheap. They're more expensive than they are here, and many things. Buy a tire down there, it's going to cost you what would be $100 for one tire, just like it is here. Same thing with refrigerators and so forth. The only thing that's cheap there is labor, and beans and tortillas, and rice. And of course, we need scholarships for our university and our deaf school students. We have a few that sponsor university students. We have many more that do sponsor deaf school students. We have several deaf ministries here in the United States that help us with the deaf school there. There's called Deaf Child Hope, and then another group in Missouri, and they have put scholarship. You can imagine trying to teach the cost of that kind of school and the transportation. Gasoline is higher there than it is here, folks, higher. Even though the country is filled with petroleum, but the government controls all the gas stations, so you know how that is. Good old socialism. In Mexico, we feel like the lives are being changed, conditions are improved, our churches are being encouraged by us helping them. They can't believe sometimes that we would spend our vacations down there helping them, and they just are so appreciative of everything that's done. So right now we are at the 45 mark in 23 cities, 9 states, and like I say, we could still support more. All of it will go to the mission field. We send out monthly newsletter. Every other month we'll send pictures, and then we also have a magazine that we put out a 3 times a year called the Mexico Messenger, and so we keep people informed. You'll know where it's going. Just get a quarterly a mid-year financial statement of what you've given, and then of course at the end of the year we print out financial statements for everybody that gives, so you know exactly, and if you need it for taxes and so forth. And of course we're headquartered in Grayson, and we're completely independent Christian churches. Churches of Christ support us. Online we have a website. If you go on there, workersformexico.org, you can kind of keep up with things, but especially our Facebook page. Join our Facebook group. The Mexican people often post there. I usually post something there that they send me once a week or twice a week, and then our email address. But the Facebook group has been a wonderful thing because people are on it and they see what's happening, and it gets them excited about maybe trying to help us. We also get a lot of people giving online. If you go to our website, you can give through PayPal. And I don't know why, but that seems to be the thing that people want to do these days. Everybody's internet. So they're always asking, any way I can donate online? I said, sure, just go and click PayPal. So we got to keep up with those PayPal accounts and on the internet. But we want to thank you for your support. Isla Mediga means God bless you. Y'all been a faithful supporter for many years, and you've gotten other churches in this area to help us too, and that's really a wonderful thing. So again, I thank each and every one of you for your support, but we do need a lot of prayers for the people there, for the churches to grow, for the contributions to grow. But right now, we feel like the work is going pretty smooth. You know, there's always hills and valleys. There's always issues to be dealt with. I usually try to travel down there by myself or with somebody, with my wife or another one of the elders of our church or something, about 4 times a year, and basically just to check, you know, to make sure everything is going the way it is. Travel to different places, and I just got back about 3 weeks ago from going to the deaf home to see how things were working with the new construction. So that's about it. Again, appreciate your support for Workers for Mexico. And if you ever have any questions or issues, just call me or email me.